Hey, on cue. We are live. This is the Real and Raw. And today is not Thursday. Today is Monday.
Oh my
I'm Lynn
God.
Serrano.
I'm Brian. Whoa, it's Monday.
Yeah.
Are we on the
we,
wrong day or what? What's going on?
yeah, right. Or there was a time change or something. And maybe the time just changed a bunch of
4
things.
days.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure all that out when we come back right after this. And today, for just one day only, it's happy lunch hour for you guys back east. And it's only 10 o'clock here in Montana. But we will be on Mondays, but starting next week, we'll be at 1 p.m. after lunch.
Yeah.
So take a later lunch so that you can catch up with us or something
So
like that.
same day, or excuse me, same time, different day.
Whatever. When you change something, you change something. So what I'm going to say, keeping it simple.
Well, nonetheless, we always have our replays available.
There you go. And you have taken time out to make all our little short clips lately. I want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
While I'm doing all sorts of stuff.
I love doing that kind of stuff because not only do I get to review the content that we put out, but also like different topic pieces, right?
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, I like that. So it helps review at the same time, actually put something out there to hopefully help everybody, all of our viewers.
Yeah. So I was just asking you real quick before the show, but I want to ask you, how do you do with the time change? Which, by the way, in the United States, we are not changing time after this. This is it. This is it.
And me personally, I mean, in full transparency, I think it's dumb. I mean, it's when you're up to big things and when you want to live a fulfilling life, it shouldn't matter what the time is, right?
No.
Like there's always a time to work. There's always a time to make a difference. And to me, that's universal. I think that for things like this, people put, and this is just my own opinion, people put too much emphasis on things that they can't control anyways, or things that they don't want to move. Like we have no control of daylight savings time. It's just the thing, right?
Yep.
But we give too much fuel to that kind of stuff versus things that, how much time are we given to living a fulfilling life? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it does affect you when, like, if you go to church on Sunday and your service is at like 9 o'clock and you realize it's like work day hours, you got to wake up. I'm just saying it does affect you, even if you're by the clock or have to be somewhere. It does affect you in the sense that your body sometimes has to take time to acclimate. It's just like when I go from the 1 hours to 2 hours, and I do that for a month when I travel because it just takes a while to get used to that 2-hour difference, so it takes a little.
I don't give it a lot of fuel just because it's like you adapt, you figure it out.
That's because you're still in your 40s. Wait till you're like 57, like I am. You'll see. We're gonna roll this tape, and I'm gonna say, "So how are you now that you're 57 and we're doing our podcast?"
I just think that, like, okay, given that topic to think about or something else, I'd rather go to something more fulfilling, more. It's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And you overcome it like you always do. If that's the biggest burden of adapting to the time change, I might want to look at what we're up to in life. That's just me,
Which just brings me to the topic we have here, and I don't know why it came out that color. I'm gonna change that. It should have been black.
It doesn't match your shirt.
There we go. I like that now. So, it even changed again. Oh well. We're gonna leave it at that for now. So anyhow, you brought in the topic of perseverance.
Yeah, I think that I've been dealing with a lot of internal types of challenges lately, and it's I haven't been the nicest person to myself or other people, and it's not like I'm doing it literally because I'm not trying to. I just whenever I'm not able to fulfill upon what I want to do, I take it out on myself, and unfortunately, then the domino effect. And so there's a difference, in my opinion. Like, okay, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it to move the world forward and to help people out, or are you doing it for some external reason? And I think it's a good topic because it's like, okay, I think that there's a fundamental foundation that we need to have. And for me, self-love, self-value, self-respect wavers from time to time. But that's also the crux of how everything either works or it doesn't.
You know, what I just thought of is the perseverance. The work is never done. Think of one of those robo vacuums, Roombas,
Yep.
right? It just keeps going. That bitch will hit the wall and it just keeps, okay, fine. Coming back this way and going back this way. I'm going to hit the wall right next to it. But it's trying to find its way out the door. I mean, it's cleaning too is the purpose. But what I'm saying is that thing don't know where it's going, but it's going somewheres. Right. And it's picking things up along the way, right? And it's perseverance. I mean, it could say, look, how many times I got to get bang the wall before I stop doing it, right? So, I mean, if you think of yourself that way.
And I think, too, is that it's a great metaphor in terms of like, okay, how much pressure we put on ourselves. Now, obviously, there are deadlines in life and we want to get stuff done at a certain time. But it's also a great metaphor for we are the ones that are creating that kind of anxiety or nervousness in terms of like, okay, if it's one thing if we declared when we want to have something done by, it's another one if the audience has or our people or whoever has absolutely no idea what we're doing. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that that's a combination of internal drive, but also that we hold ourselves to a high standard. There's Debbie.
It's beautiful. One of my other co-hosts. Hello. I produce her show, Miss Debbie from Find It. So yeah, I think you might recall the perseverance I had in just getting this stuff done, right? 2 years ago. It'll be almost 2 years ago next month. 2 years. Where did 2 years go? And I don't care if Jerry watches the replay or now or whatever, but I am throwing in my head that I may want to throw some kind of book out before I leave so that I have a token to give people that, but I haven't put any thought on that because I have to also make a course. My mastermind group, we're all going to make some courses and the deadline's coming up real quick on that. So I got to do the course and then I got to write a book and have it, on hand for when. So what I'm saying is there's so many reasons when you say you're going to do something or put it out there, you find yourself saying, oh shit, I said I'm going to do this. And then you hyperventilate because you realize you didn't think of the logistics or this or that or whatnot. But again, you don't need to take on that task of feeling of the failures or the pressure of it. You should look at the joy of how am I going to go through this obstacle of getting this done. It's really what it comes down to. And when you look at it as a fun obstacle, it's so much better than to think of the minutia of the task.
Right. Well, I think just to distinguish it for everybody that's watching, there is an internal and an external game going on here, right? We are not talking about the external game because perseverance, when you look at it externally, when you're looking for validation of the world, and just the way our culture is today, is kudos type of culture where I need to get approval or I need to get validation. Is that we're not talking about that here because when we look out at what the world will allow or not allow, don't look for validation. No. This is an internal game, because you're moving at your own speed. Right. You're moving at the speed, But then what we're talking about here is in terms of reward. You could define what that is for you, but we're talking like what makes your heart feel right.
Right.
What makes you feel right? Like when you were to focus on your legacy, would the work that you're doing now be worthy of that in the future?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't, and everybody's different and you're entitled to whatever perseverance is in terms of reward or whatever. But to me, it's not money. To me, it's to put works and comments out there and content out there that number one, get people to think. But also, though, it's like, wow, I did it my way. I did it for the right reasons. But also, though, it was something that there is no one person like me, right? There's nobody else. And so, but I withstood all the external critiques or validation or whatever, and I did it on my terms. Now, you don't have to agree with what I say. That's okay. But there's a point of view there that you can't argue with because it's mine and mine only.
I want to acknowledge
Sandy,
another podcaster and friend of ours. Thanks for being here. Yeah, and that's the thing is, whether it be health challenges, work challenges, this or that, the challenges we give ourselves in our mind, and perseverance is just knowing that take it as it comes. I mean, I think when you get the endorphins and things going on, and you're squirting out all the wrong things of scared, whatever. Don't be scared. Calm down and be happy that you're taking on a task or you're trying to accomplish something, and have that vision. Just hold on to the vision of what you want it to be done, and eventually it'll get done. I mean, like I said, Brian, you've got the makings of, when you start spitting out books, holy shit, everybody's going to wish you slowed down, but they don't understand. You've been going all along. Right. It's just a matter of when you publish now.
Well, so, I mean, in the work, I mean, our work is never done. Like somebody that writes, they write without a barrier. They write without, like, okay, does it make any sense, or can I simplify? But that's post-production. That's on the end. But it's like, okay, that's why ideas are so powerful, because thoughts are things, right? As Earl Nightingale said. But it's like, if you don't get it out there, you don't know who you could relate to, or who you could help change their mindset.
Well, and as long as you know that taking action, the work is never done. When you realize that, I think that takes the inhibition of being concerned and realizing, hey, it's just a matter of getting it done. And that's really what's important. Yes, true, Sandy says. We're just loving being productive. Absolutely. Being productive. Absolutely. That's the thing, is just get going. Just get going, get an idea of where you're going, and enjoy that journey of where you're at and where you're going. But don't harp, if it's not right or whatever. I don't, the culture of, everything of perfection, that's just such a smokescreen. And not everything is perfect. Not everything has to be perfect. We've been doing this. This is our third year. This is our third year, Brian.
That's unbelievable.
Right? Third year.
It's unbelievable.
Right? It's just, and when somebody finds us in Main Street, they're like, where you guys been? We've been doing it for 3 years. Got lots of content. And we don't care how everybody goes yet, because we want to get, we're going on 3 years.
That's unbelievable.
This is our third year. Yeah.
Well,
so,
and I think too, Sandy, is that what is the productivity for? Is it to meet the goal? Is it to meet the deadline? But the biggest key is, like, in terms of productivity, is that does it fulfill you, or does it fulfill somebody else? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that obviously productivity, you can define it whatever. Is it just to accomplish the goal? Is it a lifelong thing? Is there any emotion attached to it? I think that all of these kind of indicators are, is it mindless, or is it fulfilling? Is it for you, or is it for some external reason? I think that all of that kind of wavers into why you're doing the work that you're doing, you know. And is it a grind to get it done? Is it personal or external? I think all of that kind of goes into defining how long it's going to take you to do it and what you're doing it for. Are you inspired to do the work, or is it a grind?
And I mean, we've grown so much in the last, 3 years doing the show, and we're still doing our thing. But I think we're so much better people for the things that we've been trying to accomplish, for the long-term goal.
Well, and I mean, obviously going back to, live streaming, the origin of it, I mean, it came on the block because of COVID. I mean, it might've been there years before, but I also think too, is that what skills are you developing, like improvising, being in the moment with each other, that I think is undermined a lot of times, because it is to get a message out there. But after you're all said and done by just doing the work and coming up with the content, is that what skills are you developing that you have forever? And you keep building on them because you keep practicing them with another show, another body of content. What did Sandy say?
Yeah, you can go ahead and read it out loud.
Sure. I think it's to serve others and me too. Sometimes I say things are not for me, but for me. God inspiring. Yeah. I mean, when there's nothing more than to see what other people can get, I think it's the ultimate, because it's not like they're like an audience, where they're being prompted, like, okay, wait for it, like, okay, where's the pitch?
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, when we can share some content that hopefully just stirs up something in your brain to move your life forward and inspire you. There's a distinction between motivation and inspiration. That's why in this context, I don't like motivation, because motivation is external. Usually it doesn't last long, but inspiration is something that you move within yourself.
And I love using the word perseverance, just like resilience. I mean,
Yeah.
these are the ingredients you put in a recipe
Mm-hmm.
to know that it's a constant, like what bread, in order for it to rise, you need to have the yeast in it. I
Correct.
mean, there's certain things you have to keep at a certain level just so that it's producing, it's going forward. And these are things that people don't talk about perseverance that often.
No. And I
you
think
know
too is that perseverance is something for people that know that their work is not done. They see
hmm
the world in a different way or what it can be, not settling for what it is. But it's
right,
their internal fire, and they have a visual, and they keep painting what that picture is on a daily basis. You know, and that's why somebody, no matter how much of a master of their craft they are, they continue to pursue forward with
right.
what they're doing, is because they don't know what their limitations are, because in their mind they haven't identified them. They know
Right.
it's a journey with no end.
Well, it's important to know life is a recipe, and knowing what ingredients is to put in. And sometimes people just make those recipes, just a pinch of this, a pinch of that, but then they have to taste it, and sometimes they go, oh, I need to readjust.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you can't write that stuff down. It's acquired taste. It's my daughter. I mean, I there was a meal I'd make all the time, come to find out I was allergic to the ingredients.
Wow.
Yeah, because afterwards I'd be so sick. And we didn't get it because it would be like the next day I would be sick. And my daughter, she learned how to go ahead and remake it to taste the same without having the ingredient that would get me sick all the time. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, look at Sandy. She goes, she loves us both. I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you,
then the
Cindy.
beautiful ingredients for recipes. Love that. Yep. I love analogies. Thank you, Debbie. I love analogies because it makes it relatable, and it makes it so true, because we get into being so technical, and you could be as technical as you want, but when you need to define and change what you're doing, you need to relate it to somebody's level, whether they're, visual, audio, whatever, but you need to relate it to something that they go, I never saw that in that light.
Well, because
And
you're taking ownership and willing to look at it for what it is.
yeah,
I mean, none of this is anything new. I mean, personal development, any of this, but it's a true commitment that you're willing to look at yourself. You
yeah.
know, you're willing to be honest with yourself,
And when I
because
look
when
at my
you go ahead,
go ahead. Go
because
ahead.
when you're going to look at externally, you're going to flee from any kind of responsibility, and then you're going to wonder why, like, none of the work gets done. Because if you ever look at yourself in the mirror, just in all actuality, you'll find the answer of why you're not getting the work done.
Shit, I look in the mirror and I'm always laughing. I mean, not by my looks. I'm just laughing at myself because I just love being a goof. I mean, I was at the hotel the other day, and the computer was being so stinking slow, so slow, and the elevator sometimes is slow. So I started telling my guests on the phone. I told my GM, I said, "Look, I told the guests, sorry, my computer's competing with the elevator right now." And for those guests that have been in our hotel, they knew exactly what I meant. But again, it's one of those things. It's the comparison, like you have to have patience for the elevator. You have to have patience for my computer when you're making a reservation. You know, it's just, again, it's one of those things when we can realize that we should take ourselves lightly. I mean, we shouldn't be so serious and so rigid and not realize, okay, where's the joke here? Sometimes I swear I grew up with Candy Camera back in the day. I know that's way old school. And some of you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but that
Yeah,
would
no.
be Ashton Kutcher's "You Got Punked," pretty much
Yeah.
is the same synopsis. So being punked, sometimes go, is there cameras on me right now? Because is this a joke? Like,
Yeah.
but you got to go with that, like right now with the weather, with the snow and everything, my doorknob in my house in the inside, it's just so, it doesn't want to turn. I had my granddaughter go all the way around the house with the key to go open the door. And it's like, okay, maybe I'm, avoiding an accident right now or something, or whatever. But you just got to laugh. You just got to deal with it. I mean, roll with the punches, people. Roll with
Yeah.
the punches.
Well, I mean, we define as human beings what our work is.
Yeah.
And so then how can we blame it on external forces when we're the one defining it? We have a choice in the work that we want to do. Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about like a day, like a job or anything like that. I'm talking about in terms of, does that fulfill us or not?
Yep.
And I think so many people are easy to put it on the external forces instead of defining it like, okay, does this work make a difference for me? Do I help the world? Is this contributing to legacy?
Yeah.
Or is this just something I'm doing? Because it's going to be very clear for me, somebody that is perseverant is doing something that fulfills them, that makes a difference, that really lights them up. You can just see it in their face. You can just see it in, like, if you were to bring it on a granular level about that vision that they have for the work that they're doing and what it can be, there's nothing else in the world that matters to them. But it's internal. When it's an external type of work, that might be kind of shallow. It might be kind of limiting.
I want to take this to another level too. Perseverance goes out to everyone out there that may have had a surgery, knee placement, hips replacement, whatever. You're starting to walk again. You're starting to do things. You're starting to, get mobility. And those that are fighting cancer, those are fighting depression, those are fighting things. You have the perseverance to just think happy thoughts, think and do something, and know that you're doing something better for yourself. It's as simple as we live 24/7 with ourselves, our souls, our spirits. And we are not, you can be with 20,000 people in the same room and still feel alone, but you're not alone in your heart of heart. Speak kindness and goodness and persevere that you can get things done. We learned how to ride a bike. Oh my gosh, I took my brother's 23 speed and I was only in first grade. I had bruises inner, outer, my legs, falling, hips, whatever. I was determined to learn how to ride that bike because my big brother could. The thing is that just give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself, you've made it. Hey, you're the sperm that won to be on this earth. I mean, let's just call it what it is. So if you don't like it, I can't tell you. But seriously, it's bringing it right down to the granular level of the reality of anything. You just getting out of bed, you picking up your phone to be on the internet, anything, everything is perseverance to go and do something. And the insanity of thinking you do the same thing and, like that Roomba that keeps hitting the wall, like I said before. The bottom line is just remember, pivot. Just pivot a little bit different next time, or answer or pause before you shout at somebody. I mean, just take the time to do something a little different, and perseverance is just something that we all have, but we don't give ourselves credit for being resilient and people that want to do better every day. We're blessed to wake up every day and say, oh shit, let me try that again and see how it goes.
Well, and it's an individual game. What individual game are you playing on a regular basis? Ted's here.
Yeah,
Thanks for
hi,
being here,
Ted.
Ted. You're playing an individual game. So the more you can create the armor around yourself, then I'm not looking for external validation. And you get the validation inside of your heart, inside of your mind. And it's a bonus if anybody comments.
Yeah.
It's a bonus if anybody likes it, because you're on your path. And the people that are in alignment with it will actually gravitate towards it. And then you find your people.
Hey, hate to say it, but you know what? It wouldn't surprise me that we become real famous and popular after we've already left this earth.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
Well, but here's the thing: we're not doing it for that. We're doing it it's a byproduct of that, but it does not come with an emphasis that it's kind of like when somebody says, "I need to be creative." Good luck with that. Because creativity, you're trying to use the logical part of your brain to be creative, and it doesn't work that way. Just the same thing, like try to get work done, is that when you remove judgments, assessments, you didn't do it fast enough, quick enough, or whatever, and just do the work, is usually when you get a lot done in a short period of time.
Yeah, well, that's all I'm trying to say is that if you just go ahead and look at things from a little different view, just a little different view, or do things a little different, and you find out, shit, this is why I put the sugar in before I put the salt, or vice versa. You realize there's a reason, there is a process in doing certain things. Like when some people fold the yeast or so, whatever, or opening the cake door and it plop in or whatever, there's a reason why you don't check it 50 times like that or bang the door. I mean, you sometimes have to learn trial and error to realize what works for you. What works for you.
Well, and every day is trial and error. Every day is a journey. And if we have it all figured out, it's probably not worth being around anymore.
Right.
Because that's where the excitement, that's where the inspiration comes in, is to give life another shot. That today we'll give it all we can, but tomorrow's another opportunity if we wake up.
Yep, absolutely. So anything you want to say in closing there?
No,
sir?
I'm going to leave it up to you because you're on a roll today.
No, I'm just so grateful that we're changing to Mondays. I want to say that before we leave. And Debbie wants to acknowledge you and say, so true, Brian.
Thank you, Ben.
And I just want to say that we're going to be 1 p.m. Eastern time starting next week. And no, I love that we take these words and we take these different things and say, it's just a matter how you guys see it, and look at it like you're going to persevere. The weather. I mean, we have to get ready for everything outside of us.
Right.
And sometimes we over prepare on our minds. We over do things, which is ridiculous, wasting time. Don't waste time. Just, be ready to be prepared the best you can, but go out there and do the best you can. The day is wake up and feel like I know everything. Forget about it. Rest in peace. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't, again, I'm going back to the recipe, but think about it. Sometimes you're making this recipe and you're going all along and you realize, shit, I don't got milk, or shoot, I don't have sugar. There's substitutions for that stuff, right? If you know them, or what are you going to do? Flop it. So again, I can't help but say life is just like a recipe, and just go out there and make your own recipes, make your own cookbook. That's why there's a lot of cookbooks out there, people.
Yeah. Words well said. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I love you, Brian. You're the one who inspires me. You just ignite that in me. I just love that about you. I love you,
Glad
Brian.
to do it. Love you too.
Thank you for all the beautiful people, Sandy, Debbie, Ted. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate and love you. And we'll see you next week at our new time and new day and new bat channel.
Mondays. Here we come.
Mondays. There you go. We're going to make your Mondays a lot better. How's that?
Sounds
Have
great.
a good one.
See you next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.